Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters broadcast. PNC currently up 1-0 over Muzzy, looking to get his first win in Grandmasters and send Muzzy packing for week number 2, which would be a 1-3 record for the 3-time America's points leader. Not exactly what you expect from Muzzy, but again, we're just getting started. And more importantly, if PNC continues to play well for the big picture stuff, but mess up on these small little details, it could end up biting him later this series.
Yeah, and we got word that PNC has decided to stay on his primary deck, which is something that we expected.
Right.
And Muzzy has gone with his tertiary deck, which has taken out 1 Rabble Bouncer and Archmage Antonidas to make room for a second Snap Freeze and a Mind Control tech. So he doesn't have that ultimate late game of Archmage Antonidas, but honestly, it's pretty rare that games come down to that, at least Mage mirrors, and having an ability to swing the board with a Snap Freeze on an early Giant, with Mind Control tech to be able to swing your opponent's big Conjurer's Calling turn into a benefit for you, I think it is going to give him a slight edge in the matchup. And we said slight edge for game 1 as well, and PNC won. So still, it's Mage, anything can happen, but just something to note when looking at the changes to Muzzy's deck.
Yeah, I agree, and this is kind of what we were thinking about early in the broadcast when we were talking about Muzzy's deck. I think the tertiary deck is pretty smart. You don't need to mess too much with it. I think people sometimes feel like when you have the option to change 5 cards, you should.
Yeah.
And, there's just a lot of good cards in the core parts of what the Mage deck list already has. No need to mess with success, so to speak.
Yeah.
Small tweaks like, the Mind Control tech is fairly useful, and I mean, with Mirror Image as a core part of a lot of swingy board states, I mean, there's going to be 4 minions on the board.
Absolutely. 100% of the time. I don't think I've ever seen a Mage win without having 4 minions on the board at one point or another.
Yeah, that being said, PNC won't have indication of what kind of list Muzzy chose until he sees Mind Control tech. It's very hard to decipher that, unless he sees a second Snap Freeze. Look at this play, Khadgar.
Wow.
On 2. I was not anticipating that. I was thinking, a very casual hero power, your opponent's face, emote, and pass. What do you think about this, TJ?
It's interesting. He does have Mirror Image in hand, which will summon 4 copies of the Mirror Image. But even with that, Muzzy just pings over 2 turns,
right?
And that's it. Like, Khadgar is one of the biggest I win cards in the Mage list. Because at some point in the game, if you both are just kind of playing one Conjurer's Calling and trading back and forth, a Khadgar plus a Conjurer's Calling blows that wide open. Even if he gets there, even if he has a smaller early board, like let's say he Khadgars and then Conjurer's Calling, like a Banana Buffoon, 4 3-drops can still get you there, as we've seen thus far over the course of the weekend. So it's a brave play, and his hand wasn't terrible. He had Arcane Intellect. He could have chosen to wait a little bit, just ping face, Arcane Intellect, and then evaluate his hand.
Trippiest part, TJ, look at the hero PNC chose. Congratulations, Khadgar, you played yourself.
That's Medivh.
God dang it.
You're totally right. It was a great joke.
No, you're totally right.
I commend your effort.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful joke.
My lore joke messed up. Oh. I was like, wait a second. Pogo Hopper's 1 mana. But that's in the follow-up event where the mech skip.
Yeah, June 3rd, Dan. June 3rd. Mark your calendar.
So one thing that the Khadgar play does do, TJ, is it does force Muzzy to hero power over the course of 2 turns, which means that he doesn't get the choice of playing Banana Buffoon and making Mountain Giant cost 4 mana. Unless he had naturally drawn into some other way to deal with it. So, perhaps that was something most PNC was thinking about, and if so, it's pretty next level, because Khadgar is such a high priority threat that it does make sense. And if you are asking, TJ, yes, my face is still red from the embarrassment of not knowing that was Medivh.
All the Khadgar gamers out there, you're now their worst enemy. He confused us with Medivh?
Yeah, that's right. All the Khadgar stands out there. writing me furious letters of complaints.
Yep.
How can we let this caster on broadcast? So this mirror image will make the Sea Giant go down to 4. So if PNC does not want a Giant to come down next turn, he could trade. However, he does have the Venomizer, which means that Sea Giant isn't enough. Muzzy would have to find some other way to deal with the 2/2 poisonous.
Yep.
PNC could also preemptively trade to discount it, or sorry, to increase the count.
I think he knows that because Sea Giant would come down by itself, that he'd have the Venomizer, so might as well push the extra damage and keep that 1/1 on board. Muzzy got a chance to go off here.
Oh yeah, Sorcerer's Apprentice came to the hand.
He's got Sorcerer's Apprentice, double banana, mirror image, evocation, plus mana cyclone. In fact, he could go Sorcerer's Apprentice, mirror image, Sea Giant, and still be able to play both bananas and elemental evocation the mana cycle.
Sea Giant at the very end, which is the sickest thing of all. Which means he could actually play almost his entire hand. Yeah, he buffs, elemental evocation.
He could play his entire hand except for Frost Nova.
Yeah. Almost his entire hand. I mean, evocation, mana cyclone, and then Sea Giant comes down for free. I like tossing the coin in here. I'd rather have another mage spell. Sea Giant comes down for free. Spellbender seems like a good opportunity. Stall your opponent's plays. You can even snap freeze the Venomizer if you want to stop it from potentially attacking the 8/8. But it's a little bit tricky because PNC doesn't have his Magic Dart Frog, so picking apart the board is not as easy as you might think.
Yeah. Also, the Frost Nova with snap freeze is a great way to.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Not only push damage on your side, but also get rid of an important minion on your opponent's side. It's one of the reasons why we see the tech. You know, a lot of people kind of laughed at snap freeze. They're like, another situational freeze card.
People made fun of snap freeze, saying it's never going to be played.
Yeah, and now Specialist is giving snap freeze the gift of playability.
Magic Trick into Tome of Intellect into a Vaporize. PNC, if he picks up a Mana Cyclone, would be over the moon. Does end up finding a way to freeze the Giant at the very least. I think if I'm PNC, I'm also entertaining the idea of Conjurer's Calling here to just try to win back the board. Ooh.
2 to face. It's 5 minions on board. That's a crazy outcome. Gotta go fast.
Oh, so the Ray of Frost gets stopped by the Spellbender, and now all of a sudden he can't get through efficiently, can't trade into the Giant, has to make a play real quick. Conjurer's Calling, tries to go for the trade. 2 Wisps come out. Finally gets the trade out to the Sea Giant.
Got the trade, but that's a big resource gone. That's his second Conjurer's Calling. I think it's worth it just because Sea Giant, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to let your opponent snowball. But PNC's hand is like nothing. Like next turn he sets up a Vaporize and then does what, right? He has to wait for Archmage Antonidas. His Sorcerer's Apprentice is going to bite the dust. Muzzy, though, also doesn't really have anything. He's got double Snap Freeze, 2 Secrets, and a Frost Nova. Like, he's just going to have to try and just push damage turn after turn.
Yeah. Muzzy has 2 Sea Giants, but he's going to shut down PNC's possibility of swinging back the board through his own Sea Giant.
Yep, they both have the double Sea Giants in their deck.
Also, by seeing Arcane Missiles, I believe Muzzy knows guaranteed that it is the primary deck for PNC.
Mm-hmm. He probably could have made that guess.
Yeah, I'd assume so because things like Harrison Jones and Acidic Swampoos are not going to be useful, so the secondary deck is out the window. And as much as, you know, it's great to have Frost Nova and Doomsayer.
You remove Big Game Hunter from the tertiary deck to make room for Doomsayer Frost Nova. So it's like, yeah, you can kind of make it better because Frost Nova is good in the mirror, but then you also make it worse by getting rid of one of your biggest hard removals. Ooh, Flame Strike.
Yeah, that's pretty useful in this scenario, assuming that there isn't a secret from Muzzy to stop it because there are some random spells still in his hand. In fact, if Muzzy plays the Mirror Entity, that is something that's going to mess with PNC's head. Muzzy attacking here will be trying to test for all kinds of secrets, so Counterspell is now ruled out. Splitting Image is now ruled out. The optimal way to actually attack here is to use the Spellbender to absorb the Vaporize. So based off the process of elimination, the Sorcerer's Apprentice should go into the 0-2, the Banana Buffoon into the Mana Cyclone, and then the 1-3 attacks to face.
Well,
assuming that we know that he knows it's Vaporize and it's not Ice Barrier.
Yeah.
Because if it's Spellbender or Ice Barrier or even Mirror Entity, he kind of did this for nothing, but he's accounting for that possibility.
I was gonna say maybe having a 1-3 or Banana Buffoon needs to Vaporize, because then you get an extra 1-1 on board that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, this is optimization, so you get the extra minion on board.
Yeah,
I like it.
Ooh, kind of have to play the Magic Dart Frog here to check for Mirror Entity.
Right. But the good news is Cinderstorm and Ray of Frost should help clean up most of this.
Yeah, I mean, Magic Dart Frog plus Cinderstorm, as long as it's not Counterspell, we'll be able to clear off. Except the Magic Dart Frog goes on the other side, so not guaranteed. This is a weird Mage Mirror, Dan. This is both players having nothing.
It's not guaranteed through Cinderstorm, but it might as well be guaranteed if he uses both of his Ray of Frost.
Yeah, but it's a key resource.
Yeah.
With the Archmage and Tinnitus.
Job's done.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden the Frost Novas look pretty useless here.
Oh, Sandbinder's a great draw.
Yeah. Sandbinder to find the Mountain Giant or the second Mana Cyclone.
I will show you fear.
So that's going to cost 6. Next turn it costs 5. That gives him the ability to play Frost Nova plus the Giant.
Muzzy about to unleash the Mind Control tech here, realizing that with PNC's empty hand and a Mana Cyclone already used, it's very unlikely that 4 minions are going to come anytime soon, so he'd rather have the 1-3 on board, or sorry, the 3-3 on board.
Right. This might be grounds for PNC to Flame Strike the board. Antonidas still can get even more value if you use Ray of Frost twice, or even just Magic Trick Ray of Frost next turn. Collect 2 fireballs. Okay, he's gonna go for it now. Doesn't want to wait. Sees that Muzzy probably is holding situational response cards. So only 1 fireball acquired. I mean, the longer he waits, the more resources Muzzy can generate. Plus, Antonidas is the most dominant minion on the board. He even gets the Dart Frog, the lick. He got the lick on the other frog.
Job's done.
He did, but then he got really upset and called his friend.
Yeah, filed a lawsuit. That's inappropriate, man.
This is his lawyer.
Keep your tongue to yourself. So now Muzzy has the use for that Snap Freeze. Frost Nova, Snap Freeze costs 5 mana.
What to do?
He could just Fireball Ping to keep his Mountain Giant cheap.
Yeah, I think that's probably the more efficient play to do right now.
He can Ping Face, actually, because the Magic Dart Frog, if he trades over his opponent's Magic Dart Frog, will guaranteed kill the Archmage and Tinnitus. So,
yeah.
Ping Face, push 1 to face, and call it a turn.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think you're going to be utilizing Fireball to end the game. Would be nice. I mean, you do have 6 power on board, but it's optimistic, and PNC could use a little bit of that optimism. Sea Giant comes into the hand.
Yep.
But if you Sea Giants, there's still 5 power. Fairly easy for Muzzy to pick it apart if he had like a Ray of Frost. Alternatively, he could just clear the board with the Flame Strike that we were talking about. Doesn't want to take too much damage. However, he sees Mind Control tech. There's no Archmage Antonidas in Muzzy's deck. Therefore, PNC might feel a little bit more comfortable taking damage compared to normal.
Yeah, and if he Flame Strikes here, then it all of a sudden makes his Sea Giant much more difficult to play.
Right. That's like the catch-22, right?
Yeah.
Sea Giant gets cheaper to play with more minions, but the more minions on your opponent's side of the board, the easier they can answer the Sea Giant.
Oh, Ray of Frost is so good.
Yeah. Mountain Giant.
Mountain Giant, Ray of Frost, Snap Freeze.
Snap Freeze.
Now, yeah, I don't think you can wait. There was a chance that Muzzy might want to wait because this is like his last thing that he can do proactively. If you wait, maybe you pick up Conjurer's Calling and can try and do that, but he's got also 2 minions on board. He knows that one card is randomly generated, 1 card is a Fireball, and then 1 card is a natural draw from his deck.
PNC, his webcam's even blurring. Fade me, fam. What he's trying to say right now. Magic Trick looking for some way to stall. Frostnova would be good. Frostbolt is okay.
It
Not
deals
amazing.
It deals with the Giant, but then all of a sudden his Giant is very expensive.
Well, he can Frostbolt the Giant and set it for a Flame Strike next turn.
Yes, he could Frostbolt Fireball and just kill it. Because if you Frostbolt it now, Muzzy has Conjurer's Calling.
You're right, but I think even if they Conjurer's Calling a 4-drop through the Standbinder, I think you're still in trouble.
You're still in trouble. So maybe you have to take a risk. Yeah, Frostbolt and.
Oh my! So he's gonna do this and Fireball Ping. I guess that accomplishes the same thing, but you lose the Fireball.
Yeah.
But you still set up for the Flame Strike. Conjurer's Calling is still a great draw here for Muzzy.
Oh, he got it.
Oh, hold on. That Flame Strike is also still important.
It is.
That being said, though, I like this.
All right, he's looking for 5 health.
6 health.
Oh, but it.
Harbinger Celestial.
Harbinger Celestial, it's 7 health.
And PNC with no Frostnova.
Harbinger Celestial is weird, though, because it transforms into a copy of a minion that you're.
But he has no minion he can play. It's going to stay as a 5/6.
Unless he picks up a cheap minion, okay?
He finds a cheap minion. So now he can Luna Flame Strike.
He can Luna Flame Strike, but there's still.
There's 8 damage on the board.
8 damage on board.
And once those minions die, he heals. The 4/7s on Muzzy's side, their Death Rattle reads restore health to the enemy hero. I believe it's
5.
5 health. Right.
Yeah, I
thought it was 4.
It might be 4.
Either way, PNC is not out of it just yet. I was really hyped up because I thought Harbinger Celestia would finally be able to have its time in the sun.
Nope. Ooh, a Sea Giant. Oh, you could Sea Giant Conjurer's Calling. Yeah.
So, with Flame Strike used, there's only 1 card remaining in PNC's hand. I think Muzzy just kills his Luna and pushes face.
Yeah.
I think that it doesn't really matter if you heal your opponent. Whew. Is there anything that he should play around? I don't think so.
Oh no!
Pair of 11s. Unstoppable poker hand. Not really good for Hearthstone.
Just like a cheating poker hand.
What's even an 11? I guess a jack.
A jack is probably an 11, yeah.
Look at you, Jack.
Pair of jacks
3
is a
11s.
3 11s.
What you got?
I didn't even know that was possible.
All reds.
I'm all in.
All right, well, that's going to do it for Game 2. Muzzy ties it up, and you can see that the tertiary deck comes into play, having that second Snap Freeze just in case. Because, again, that's one of the free Snap Freezes that he used was generated off Mana Cyclone, but you still see that he needed to use a Snap Freeze in a pinch scenario. And even having, like, tempo through a Mind Control tech to add pressure to the game board, or even have his options is still going to be very nice. So now the series is tied. The winner of this series is going to take it all for the end of Week 2. We'll find out what happens. Don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone action when we come back.
My name is Casper. My alias is Hunter-Ace. My username actually goes way, way back. I didn't actually come up with it myself. My father is like somewhat of a gamer and he had like his own gaming stuff. But what I did was I just stole one of his tags and used it for myself.
So Hunter-Ace is really your dad?
Well, not anymore. Right now I reached like my ultimate goal for this year. We happened to win the World Championship, and that was like the biggest thing. So I'm like still extremely happy about that. I think that the Grandmaster program provides an exciting opportunity to be able to play like high competition Hearthstone every week. Only competing against the EU players to start with is going to be a very difficult job, and it's going to be super hard to be like one of the standout performers and then qualify to the global finals. I would have to stay at my best to be able to qualify.
Dalaran will be ours! Once we land, you know what to do! No we don't. You didn't tell us to play it. I didn't think I had to. It's perfectly obvious. Bank! I am to be robbing the bank! I take henchmen for vault smashing and shiny stealing! Plan is obvious! It's a start, yes, but...
You won't get a single coin unless you take care of the city's guards. Let's rip open Violet Hole and unleash the prisoners on the city. That'll keep the guards busy.
Certainly, but that's not...
No! First, we must sow chaos in the streets.
I got rockets. Anyone need rockets? Try to see the big picture. Shiny, shiny, shiny.
We have to break their will before we can loot, you fools!
Please, everyone, please. Let's strap some rockets to the city. Oh, big candle. And then we just take the whole shebang wherever we want. Yes! Finally, you're exactly right.
Seriously?
That's dumb.
Ah, weak candle. Just wait till second gear kicks in. Yes! It's just like I said. We're going to take Dalaran for all that it's got. It's a genius plan. It's simple. It should have been obvious. And absolutely nothing will go wrong.
So, genius, how do we land?
Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters. Game number 3 is about to begin. I don't really see PNC switching anything into a second or tertiary deck, even after what we just saw.
No,
But at the same
absolutely not.
time, the pan out for PNC was a little bit weird, right? With the Khadgar on 2, didn't really get any momentum, getting tempo early on. And again, he's a deck that needs to be proactive. The more I think about the Khadgar on 2, the more I don't think it's that bad of a play. Because it forces Muzzy into a reactive position where he has to like hero power that, and maybe he gets ahead through the Conjurer's Calling, and then is able to cement that lead, but just never was able to keep it up.
It's possible. No, I don't think you're ever going to convince me that you don't hold on to that Khadgar. Maybe you could. I'm taking a strong stance on this one, Dan. A very strong stance. I am willing to be proven wrong,
I don't think
but very reluctant.
I don't think I
wrong.
personally would ever do that.
I would not know.
I'm just saying that I think I can understand where he's coming from. And
Yeah, maybe we're dumb.
well, I mean, I just think that PNC needs to control the board early on. That's his only way to victory. That's what happened in the first game. That was the only reason why I think he was able to push Muzzy
All
into
right,
the game.
all right. I said that you'll never be able to convince me, but you convinced me. No Frost Novas in the deck means that the later it goes, the less likely you are to win.
Yeah, well, it just gives Muzzy the opportunity to swing.
Yes.
Now, in contrast, I wonder if Muzzy wants to take the board himself. Yeah, and I think the Sorcerer's Apprentice here is a play that we have seen a lot of people go for, and even Stargazer Luna on curve, and all of a sudden you're just playing like tempo mage in a way, right? You're just trying to squeeze in tempo swings and plays and leverage the Sorcerer's Apprentice to keep hitting the face. PNC does have a 50% chance to kill it with the Arcane Missiles. He could... Actually, he has a guarantee with the Magic Dart Frog.
He uses the coin.
Yeah, he does use the coin, but you can use it for like Magic Dart Trick. Or sorry, Magic Dart Trick. Magic Dart Frog, and then combine it with the Magic Trick.
Magic Dart Trick is...
That sounds like lethal right there.
Imagine if Magic Dart Frog could hit face.
Imagine if it was a 2-2. that could hit face whenever you summon a minion.
Wow. Imagine if it was a 3-mana 2/4 that could hit anything, minions or face, whenever you play this spell. Twice!
Well, that just sounds broken.
Yeah, it was.
I think to balance it, I'd make it an elemental.
The future.
Stargaze Luna comes down, another 3-mana 2/4. PNC can clear. In fact, what's the best way to go about this? It might be through a Sorcerer's Apprentice and then the Arcane Missiles. I think Arcane Intellect in this position is giving up too much of the board in terms of what stats are on it. So if you can use Arcane Intellect once your hand is missing plays. For now, it seems like you can use Arcane Missiles.
You don't have to play Sorcerer's Apprentice because you may need to ping. And see, just like for this instance right here.
It's a missed 50-50 on PNC's end. Just needed 2 missiles to hit. I'm actually not sure if it's a true 50% because it doesn't die on the 3rd hit if it does do that. But probably is. I'm not facetiously saying 50-50 because it either happens.
Wow. So going to use the Elemental Evocation to just maximize board presence early on.
This is how much PNC values early game board. And I gotta say, it's working out okay so far. But that's dependent on this Arcane Intellect and this Banana Buffoon to do some heavy lifting. Because that second Sorcerer's Apprentice, it ain't doing much.
I mean, both these players not really drawing that much gas, but just trading back and forth early on the board.
When your entire deck is composed of basically 2 health minions plus giants, you're not exactly putting on a very strong assault without the giants as your forefront. And now the Sorcerer's Apprentice Arcane Intellect is PNC's best play, but he needs to draw into bigger stuff. And right now, when you're for 4 mana, you're playing a 3/2. It's not exactly what you're trying to go for tempo. The good news, Muzzy's only holds 4 cards, and it's not like his 4 cards are super impactful. That's
okay.
Nice draw.
Stargazer Luna, great engine, and Muzzy's already used his. And that is not a good hand from Muzzy. He has a lot of time to buy himself with Khadgar plus Mirror Image. But he needs card draw, and he needs it now.
Yeah, card draw is very important, but even Khadgar plus Mirror Image makes him vulnerable to a Sea Giant swing. There's going to be 5 minions on the board after that, and then PNC might be able to just play a Sea Giant very effectively.
Yep, just going to go ahead and ping.
Oh!
Well, that's awkward, because now Stargazer Luna can't draw him cards. He can still just play it on the board, though. Or Ziliax. Both of these reasonable plays. Or even Banana Buffoon, double Banana Ping to keep the pressure going. Like, all of those plays have a decent amount of merit.
Ziliax is the most mana efficient. What I like about Banana Buffoon is it shuts down Muzzy's defensive plays, because I think Muzzy basically said, I don't have anything good. I'm just going to hero power your Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah.
And I think the next turn indicates that he's going to also use his Fire Blast to kill off the Apprentice.
Interesting.
I think I like Banana Buffoon 1 banana. Protect your Sorcerer's Apprentice from another ping.
Yeah, because then you can use the second banana as a other way to influence the board state.
Yeah, an
Plus
extra draw from Luna next turn, a way to have another card in your hand for Mountain Giant.
Assuming that, assuming you do get a cheap enough spell for Luna to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the banana here. Yeah, we were talking about Banana Buffoon having to do a little bit of, doing a lot of work here. Oh man, nothing again. This is starting to get a little bit scary here if you're in Muzzy's territory, because there's 6 power on the board and you still can't really answer it cleanly, and now the Khadgar Mirror Image situation is still getting worse with each passing turn.
Yep, and you, while you get your own Sea Giant cheaper, you also give your opponents, and they have initiative. And then you can't play Mountain Giant like ever again. And you ping the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Sure, PNC just going to go ahead and banana it again. Very brutal. He might have to try and just take some damage and hope that Mind Control Tech, Frost Nova, Snap Freeze is going to be able to buy him back some time. But
yeah, you could also just mirror image just for without the Khadgar. I don't know if that still sets up the Sea Giant situation. This is tough. I think this pan out is like starting to strongly favor PNC, and also again driving the point home, having that initiative early on.
yeah, makes me like the Khadgar on 2 from last game more and more.
Yeah, I think
Because an
it's
unchecked
smart.
minion is very threatening.
That's an okay draw. Like the Ray of Frost makes it a little bit more complicated, but PNC can play Stargazer Luna now, hit with the Banana Buffoon, frost his own Buffoon. That's a brand new sentence in human history.
Interesting.
I don't know. I can think,
Hearthstone creates some really weird sentences.
I can think of another situation where you would say, frost his own buffoon. In fact, I'm sure somebody has said it as some kind of innuendo throughout history, so.
I'm sure.
I kind of like the Ziliax play here a little bit better, Dan.
I think with Mountain Giant, you want to keep your hand resources high so that you can keep.
It's the same amount as Stargazer Luna, though, right?
Well, Luna, you would frost your other minion,
Interesting.
Yeah.
and you would draw a card. And then
So you'd have one more card. Because you'd still play the Luna, and you'd have to give up 2 damage on your Buffoon the next turn in order to make that happen.
Fair
You'd
enough.
also have 1 less damage from having a 2-attack minion instead of a 3-attack minion. Giant mirror image?
Well, see, so now he gets to the situation where Stargaze, like, the Mountain Giant's just stranded. But perhaps PNC feels like depending on the Giant isn't good enough because if you depend on the Mountain Giant, it just gets Snap Freeze. Antonitis with 4 Rays of Frost. He's going to be able to push 10 damage with 4 Fireballs.
I think that's game. I don't know. That is very... So he's going to put him down to 6, and he's going to have 4 Fireballs in hand. There is not enough healing in the world to heal back enough to outlive 4 Fireballs. Maybe Shirvala plus double Ruthful Brewmaster, but Muzzy does not have access to that because he's playing a mage deck.
Oh, he's just killing the Giant. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. The damage to face isn't going to matter nearly as much as reducing Muzzy's options.
Does it make sense, though?
Wait, he didn't kill the Giant, though.
He did with the banana, but he pushed no damage.
Yeah, he didn't kill the Giant with the Rays of Frost, but he had to trade his own minion in. He still was threatening lethal.
Yeah, and Muzzy has...
Oh, Mind Control Tech. He has 4 minions on the board.
But if you mind control Texas, then what? You fireball in the face next turn. Muzzy has 0 healing.
Mind
It
control
doesn't
tech-
matter. Anything wins.
Mind Control Tech with the Ziliax.
Oh, the Ziliax. You're right.
Ziliax punches, and then he kills the Antonitis.
I mean, you can still set up for a double fireball, but I guess this play is better in most of the turns. You kill the Mountain Giant. You play around mind control tech. Everything works out.
Muzzy concedes. PNC gets his first victory in the Grandmasters.
Yeah.
And Muzzy's struggles will continue for week 2 as he is only at a 1-3 record. But again, only 4 best of 3s, small sample size. We're going to see how the weeks continue to unfold. But one of the stories that we kind of talked about going into it was Latin America struggles, former Tempo Storm struggles, going into now Radiance with Muzzy and Sand. And they were hoping that they can start off the season very strong. And at 1-3, you're looking at whether or not you can salvage the midweeks as opposed to cement your lead for playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. And PNC also going up to 1-3 and 1 micro mistake in that game. But I'd love the macro game plan. You know, he realized that without the Frost Novas in his deck, without that ability to kind of fight those giant board battles in the mid game, needed to get minions on board and just use those minions to pressure Muzzy out of the game.
Cool.
And it worked.
All right, let's go ahead and chat with PNC. His first time here in the winners interview for this season. PNC, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hi.
Awesome. So, going into today, you were obviously winless. Was that affecting your mentality at all going into this match against Muzzy?
Yeah, affected a lot. Not that much against Muzzy. It was more against Stripecrow. I was having a really hard time. I was very stressed, and yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. So it seemed like you were making some pretty nice macro line decisions. One of the things that was highlighted was Khadgar on 2. We had our own thoughts and analysis on it, but we want to hear from yourself. What was some of the rationale behind playing that really important legendary card as quickly as the second turn?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I had 2 mana, and the minion is 2 mana, so I just played it.
All right. It's technically true.
Simple enough,
Yeah.
but sometimes that's how you win those mage mirrors.
Yeah, the thing is, I didn't have the coins, so I was pretty unfavored, I would say. So I don't know. I just wanted to get early on board and try to pressure that way.
Yeah. Did you feel like, based off the mage deck list, that you were the favored one compared to Muzzy?
Yeah, for sure. The frogs are very good in the mirror.
Yeah. So I thought that the frost novas and whatnot would definitely be a point of concern, but the frog did so much work, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that. So TJ, do you have any questions?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, yeah. What I wanted to say is that so I think all the mage players are starting to realize that it's better to pressure early game and play Sork on 2, Luna on 3, and so frog denies that from your opponent. Like if you had the frog, your opponent is so scared of it, so just holds minions and you get early on board, and that's how you get the advantage. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the third level, right? Because if you expect people to bring the normal mage list, then Frost Nova plus Snap Freeze is better. But then if you expect people to bring the Frost Nova plus Snap Freeze list, then the Dart Frog's better. Is that a good way to kind of sum that up, or am I just way off?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Good
I was
talk,
right. I was right about
I
something.
mean, I was convinced the other way, but now after seeing Frog, I definitely think that it makes a lot of sense there. So going into it, I think a lot of people are talking about the power of Mage. I guess maybe you can add your voice into the pool here. Do you think Mage is just unstoppable, or do you see what some other players are saying, which is Mage does have clear weaknesses? Where do you really lay on that fence?
I mean, it seems to be pretty good, right? But I don't know. I'm going to try to find something to counter Mage for next week. I'm tired of playing Mage.
All right, attaboy.
Holy Wrath Paladin, man.
Maybe not Mech Hunter. That deck is struggling a lot.
Oh, yeah. I'm never bringing Mech Hunter again. That was a big mistake.
All right. Well, thank you so much, PNC. Congrats on your first victory, and we'll see you back next week.
Thank you.
All right. So, PNC, once he warmed up in the interview, I think he was opening up a little more.
Yeah, his analysis on the Magic Dart Frog's interesting, because when we both looked at the deck, I think we said it was Muzzy favored, especially with the Mind Control Tech second Snap Freeze built in. But Snap Freeze is a dead card if you just play for tempo and don't revolve around your giants. It just sits in the hand. So does Frost Nova.
It's the threat of it, right? Had he seen PNC's hand and showed that he was nowhere near playing Mountain Giant for a long time,
yeah,
Muzzy would have probably dealt with that Sorcerer's Apprentice a long time ago, or even just Frost Nova'd and stalled a little bit and like use that Snap Freeze to win back some tempo. But it was a very bad draw for Muzzy, combined with PNC making do with the best that he could, and then you factor in the threat, the hidden potential of what the deck can do at any given moment, and Muzzy was playing correct based off of what could happen, but what was happening was he was losing life slowly. And then the Antonites just sealed the deal from that perspective, even though Muzzy could have kept playing on. So that's our first series out of 6. It's Super Sunday, so we have an extra bonus match. 5 more to go, so don't go anywhere. More Hearthstone Grandmasters Americas continues right after this.